All right, welcome back everybody to another episode of QuattroQuattroDos. Once again, I am your boy Cristian, and today we're gonna be talking a little bit about all the new signings, and we're gonna look at the possibility of a starting 11 for the Houston Dynamo. So, as most of you probably know by now, the Houston Dynamo has been doing a lot of movements and a lot of interesting trades and like stuff like that, and then we had the super draft, and then we were able to acquire a few players here and there through that. So we're going to go through it. We're going to talk about some of the names that have been coming in and then we're going to kind of break down starting 11. I don't know if I'll give my starting 11, but I can give you the ones that I think that maybe Tab Ramos is going to have in there. Just because the amount of good names and good players that we have on the field or on the roster right now, it's going to be interesting to see where we land. But before we get to that, let's just go ahead and break down the players. These are not going to be in order which we acquired them. They're just going to be in order that they popped up into my head, and I wrote down something for them, and then I'll probably talk about them, some more than others. And just because I know a little bit more information, or I read a little bit more about them, or because of what I've heard, with the press conferences with Tab Ramos, Matt Jordan, and stuff like that. So, but also to begin this episode, I guess I can say I pride myself with trying to be honest. I try not to lie. And I try to give credit where credit is due, and try to recognize when something is wrong, and kind of try to recognize when something is right. And in this moment of time, in the era where we live, where Matt Jordan has been getting a lot of shit, basically for his moves, I think it is not reasonable, but maybe fair to give him a little bit of, cut him a little bit of slack when it comes to these moves. So shout out to Matt Jordan for, I guess, proving that this year that they gave him is not going in vain, and he's actually putting in some work. Maybe the fact that he has Tab Ramos by his side makes it a lot easier, and also makes it a lot clearer what type of players and what type of a specific player they want, because Tab Ramos has a clear idea of what kind of teams he wants and what kind of players he wants. Therefore, it makes it a lot easier for Matt Jordan to go look. Maybe he already has names that he has to go look for, or maybe it makes it a lot easier because the description of a team is already there. Therefore, you kind of have to look something that goes in there, and if it doesn't, then you kind of have to move on, right? So, for example, let's go ahead and talk about the draft picks that were made. When was it? 2 days ago on the Thursday. So the first one we got was Ethan Barlow. He is a center mid that came from Virginia Tech, if I'm not mistaken, and he was actually the highest ranked defender in all of the draft. And then also he's also a generation Adidas, which means that the money that they pay him basically doesn't go against the roster. He kind of has a contract, if I'm not mistaken, either with the league or with Adidas. The MLS has so many rules and like GAM, TAM, and all these and SAMs and bans that I don't even know what. Half of the times I don't even know what is what. But which makes the league a little bit more interesting, which is also how we got Joe Corona. But if you want to learn stuff like that, I'll point you to the right direction. Go follow the Foxtrot. He knows a little bit more about that. Also, make sure that you look at the interview that I did with him. Pretty cool guy. And also, he's very aware when it comes to all those technical stuff. But let's talk about Ethan. Ethan, whenever we saw, I don't know if you guys, most of you probably haven't seen it, but if you guys heard, the press conference of Tab Ramos that gave after, I was lucky enough to see it. The press conference Tab Ramos did after the draft, he talked about Ethan Barlow and how he was probably one of two or three of guys that they were looking for. With the addition of Tim Parker, they didn't have so much pressure to go specifically for Ethan Barlow, but they knew Ethan Barlow was going to be one of the guys that they really wanted, right? Just because he's a well-rounded player. This is all come from Tab and for what I was able to see from highlights. But he is a well-rounded player, defensively and attacking, in an attacking manner, which is very surprising from a center back. But a lot of the videos that you see, a lot of highlights, is him actually going into the attack or actually managing the ball on his feet well enough that he's able to go into the attack or push forward up to midfield and give a good pass or switch the fields from left to right, right to left. And also he's a left footer, so it kind of gives you that extra depth, I guess, on the left side that sometimes you might need, He looks to be to have a really good IQ when it comes to soccer, which is something that me personally I like. I know a lot of people look for more physical things sometimes, but me myself, and it seems like Tab Ramos too, we look for IQ. What can you do with the ball? How do you look at the game? How well-rounded can you be when it comes to not only thinking ahead defensively, but also, because you're a center back, but also thinking ahead in an attacking manner where you can put a through ball, from the back line to the front line, kind of skipping everybody in the middle. And also, how well can you read plays when they're coming, against you in a counter attack or something like that. So, and also he's young, 20-year-old kid, and that's what Tab Ramos, Tab Ramos wanted youthness, I guess, and if that's a word, and also a lot of intelligence, physical, being smart and all that stuff. And I think Ethan Barlow was probably one of, if not the greatest pick. And I'm going from 2-3 years that I've been following the Dynamo kind of deeply. Maybe if you disagree or if you can think of any other names, let me know in the comments, or you're just kind of, not argue with me, but kind of, let's start conversation on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. I would say write an email, but honestly, who writes emails nowadays? So, well, I mean, everybody does, but, what would you write an email about that? Unless you want to, But what was I saying? Yeah, Ethan, he's probably the best draft pick in the history of the Houston Dynamo. I might be going on a limb on that, and I might be exaggerating, but I think he is really up there. If he's not the best draft pick ever in the history of the club, he's probably one of the top 1-2. So I would say. Tim Parker. Yeah, I think everybody got excited. Honestly, I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. I don't know much about a lot of different players in the league. Just because I'm kind of new, so I'm still kind of learning about the other teams. I know about the Dynamo, but when it comes to learning all the names and stuff, and also it does not help that last year we didn't play with every team, and Tim Parker comes from the New York Red Bulls on the East Coast, which we had basically no contact with this past year. Therefore, you're not able to see some players. I mean, I know some players now from SKC because we're playing 4 times. I know some players from Minnesota because we're playing 4 times. You get to know the players you play against with. And Tim Parker, I was not aware of, just because I'm kind of learning the league itself. But Tim Parker also provides stability, even though he's a 25-year-old dude. No, that's Derek Jones. Tim Parker, he's not old, but he's also not young. And he's also been playing in the league for a while. And he provides, a lot of stability in the back. He's a center back, by the way. He provides a lot of stability, a lot of experience, a lot of, what's it called? When you impose yourself, he's a leader, he's a winner. That's what comes out of Tab's mouth. And actually, Tab Ramos gives a lot of credit to Matt Jordan for making this move happen. He says that as soon as the season was over for the New York Red Bulls, Tyler Ramos basically told Matt, I want that guy, get him. And, until the last moment, till the day before the draft, we weren't, or 1 or 2 days before the draft, we were able to get Tim Parker. which made a lot of, it kind of took the weight off the shoulders of the super draft being so important for the Houston Dynamo, because we knew at least that we had at least one good center back that our coach wanted. So Tim Parker is going to be a great addition. I think he's going to be a starter from the beginning. Derek Jones, another player that comes from, he comes from Nashville, but he's also a young guy and an experienced guy. He's only 24, 25, I believe, but he's been playing in the league for 4 or 5 years. Therefore, he brings that youthness with 24, 25 years old, but he also brings that experience that a 4 or 5 year veteran in the league brings, and that what Tab Ramos wanted. He wanted guys to be young, he wanted guys to be fighters, and he wanted guys to have experience in the league, which I think Derek Jones brings all that into the table. Derek Jones also was part of the youth program under Tab Ramos and the U.S. men's national team. Therefore, he knows him. So, we have to give credit to Tab on that one. So hopefully, Derek Jones he said he wanted, Derek Jones for a while, but obviously he's been doing good in Nashville. Nashville had a great season. Therefore, it's a little bit harder to get those players. But, luckily, we were able to make some deals during the draft where we moved from the 3rd place to the 6th place with Colorado, got some money from them, and we were able to use that money to put towards Nashville, towards Derek Jones. So that was a great move by the Houston Dynamo organization. I would credit Tab Ramos on that one mainly because, he was the guy that kind of wanted him. And of course, Matt Jordan, just because he is part of all that transactions. Another guy that we got long time ago in December, like about a month and a half ago maybe, or actually no, I'm tripping, right before the season ended for the Houston Dynamo, which is Mateo Bajamic, the Argentinian that is 21 years old, I believe, from the 2nd division team in Argentina, Instituto. But the kid seems hungry as hell. He knows that he's going to come here to fight. I mean, unfortunately, he was able to, I guess fortunately for us, he was able to see how shitty we were last year. So he's going to be able to come in and try to, turn that around and try to become, something important in this team, something to kind of like give us a change, give us something new, something fresh. And luckily for us, we were able to keep him in Argentina, keep him, moving, keep him running, because, whenever he came over here, he wasn't able to play because, COVID protocols and all that stuff. So he had to go back. Well, he didn't have to go back, but he didn't get to play. Therefore, the Houston Dynamo decided, hey, let's just send him back to Instituto on a loan, and then he can get some minutes in right there, stay loose. So, because if not, he would have sat here for like 4 or 5 months, which is not ideal for a player that, in any type of, player, beginner or experienced player. So I think Bajamic is going to bring a lot of hunger, a lot of power. He seems like a big dude, powerful dude. So hopefully he's going to be able to give us that power on the wings and also play as a number 9 if needed. Another guy that I'm really interested in, just to see how it turns out, just because of the story, I guess, is Tyler Pasher. So Tyler Pasher is a Canadian guy that played in Indy 11, which is a USL team, a 2nd division team here in the United States. And Tab Ramos says that in the days that he was in the youth national team, he gets to watch a lot of USL teams because, he recruits a lot of the young guys from there. And he says that he played against Tyler Pasher many times, or the guys that he was watching played against his team in the 11, and that Pasher kind of, caught his eye. So imagine how good, or how, great qualities you have to catch the eye of the opposing coach, I guess. They, they're not even there to watch you, but you brought so much attention to yourself, in a good way that, they keep you in mind, and they bring you out from a 2nd division USL team, which, not to talk down, but it is the 2nd division, to, the main stage, which would be the MLS. So hopefully, Tyler Pasher comes in with that hungriness, with that hunger to demonstrate that, he's ready for the big stage. He's ready for the MLS. He's ready for move on in his career from the USL to the MLS. And hopefully he has, he's still a young guy. If I'm not mistaken, he's also 23, 24. So he brings in that hunger. And also he's had a great USL years. If you haven't heard Zona Naranja with Edson O, he talked to a guy that is an Indy 11 podcaster and follower and fan. And they talk about Tyler Pasher. And it was very interesting information because you kind of see how much they're going to miss him. Joe Corona, he played in the Mexican League. He's been playing there for a while. An experienced guy. I don't think I have to say much about him. It was a good catch, getting them in that weird expansion draft thing, whatever it's called. But I think in Joe Corona, we just get a lot of experience and a guy that has been with the men's national team, that has played in different leagues, that has won titles, in different teams. So we know he's a winner. We know that he has experience. He knows how to play the big games, and he brings all that into a team that is going to have a lot of youngsters. Fafa Picault. It was actually also another player that Tab Ramos said that as soon as the season ended for Frisco FC, he wanted to get Fafa just because of the qualities that he brings as a player. He's a fast winger / number 9 in my eyes. And I was actually able to see him against the Houston Dynamo, which he brought so much trouble to us just because of his speed and his qualities as a player. So I'm very excited for Fafa to be in Houston because he seems excited to be in Houston. So when I see a player that wants to be here, it kind of just gets me hyped up, just because he's going to work hard and he's going to fight for his spot, and he's going to fight to be good, and he's going to fight for the team to be good. So shout out to Fafa, and hopefully, we'll see good years from you. Another player that we exchanged for Kiki Struna, who, we had our issues with in a way, was Maxi Urruti, the Argentinian, that basically he is not young, but he's also not old. He's like in that in between. But he's also a proven winner with Montreal. So this is more like Tab Ramos was saying in a way. This is kind of like a second chance for him to kind of prove himself that he's still in the high level. I mean, he doesn't really have to prove it because he has proven it his whole career in a way. But this is a good challenge for him to prove himself a little bit more. So it's gonna be fun because the midfield is gonna have a lot of players, and we already have some good ones. And then these guys coming in are also good. So it's gonna be a good fight to hold those positions in place in the field. Another draft pick that we got was Strickler. Cristo Strickler. He is a number 9, a goal scorer, or I guess number 9, or a guy that kind of starts from a little to the side. It was interesting to hear Tab Ramos kind of describe him as a Wondolowski type of guy. If you don't know who Wondolowski is, then if I know, you should know. But basically, he's a legend in the league. He's been playing forever, and he is a game changer. He is like the Palermo. If you guys don't know who Martin Palermo is, he is basically the guy that you knew if he was in the field for Boca Juniors, he was going to score at least one goal any game. And like him on the field was like half a goal already. So, that's the way that I see Wondolowski. Wondolowski, every time I see him, I'm like, oh, well, he's in. The chances of that team scoring just got greater. And also the good story about Strickler, that he actually went to... I forget the college he comes from, but he was a walk-on on the college, and he ended up being the captain, the top goal scorer, and he's from the same college, that number 1 draft pick that went to Austin. So funny enough, Strickler and that other kid came from the same college. One went to Austin, one went to Houston, and then Ethan Barlow and his other center back, they went the same direction. Ethan came to Houston and the other guy went to Austin. So it was pretty funny that two guys that played together, or two sets of guys that played together, kind of were separated into Texas to become kind of rivals, after playing so many years together. But Strickler has a good story. He's a fighter because he's a walk-on. He's a walk-on into his college. He became captain. He became top goal scorer. So he has that fight in him. So hopefully, he'll fight for a place. We don't know if he's gonna end up in the USL or not, but let's give the kid a chance and we'll see what happens. And then the last one that we got was Terwigi. I'm probably killing it, but he's another center back from SMU, if I'm not mistaken, from the youth national team also. So he got the eye from Tab Ramos. And also we need center backs, even though right now we're probably sitting on right now with him, we are sitting on 6 names for center backs. I think is a good fight, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So those are all the guys that came in, and now we're going to move on into my top 11s and probably kind of keep it short, and then we'll be good. So, but first, let's listen to some commercials, and we'll be back. And we're back. So I gotta remember where this is. So minute 20. Okay, we're good. So so Tap Ramos was talking about how some people were asking him about what is the meaning of all these players coming in. What does it mean for you to be able to pick players? Bring players that you want. And hold on, water break. So and then Tab Ramos basically hit him with this is the end of a cycle. Everybody knew, and I've been saying this all last year too, that the players that he was playing with were not his players. Were players that were from a previous team that he inherited, basically. And there was nothing he can do. He was trying to do the best with the best, with what he had. And many of you obviously we didn't get the results that we wanted. We sucked like balls. And we were last place in the West, probably I think second to last in the whole league, if not the last. I think there was somebody worse than us. But I think if you saw the games and if you put your hand in your heart, I think you can say that the team has played a lot better than, well, at least in my eyes, that the best that we have played in the last 4 or 5 years. In my opinion, I was able to, I was lucky enough to be there at the stadium for all these games and watching them play live. You saw how Tab Ramos implemented, the passing, the moving the ball around, not, just shots, not just going straight to the counter and going all crazy, as we were used to with having 2 fast wingers, and which is understandable, with Elise and Kyoto. Now that, at least Kyoto have moved on, Manotas has moved on, and, I think, that was an end of an era right there. Top 3 have moved on, and now is the time to rebuild. This is the time for Ramirez to step up and become the number 9. For other players to come and, claim those Kyoto spot and claim that Eli spot and that they kind of left behind. And let's look at the names, but yeah, that's what Ramos was saying. End of a cycle, a beginning of a new, and also a change of mentality. He wanted winners, and I think if we're gonna go through the names right now, the majority of them want to win, and they are winners. Like they know how it is to win, and they know that sometimes when in the league, in the season you lose, but at the end of the day, you have to stand back up and go out there and keep winning. So hopefully we see a lot more wins this year, and a lot more wins on the row as well, and also become make the VVVA a stronghold for the Dynamo, and make it hard for every other team to come into Houston and get those 3 points. So let's start from the back. So right now we're sitting on 2 goalies, Marco Maric and Nelson. So I think we're okay. Maybe a 3rd goalie wouldn't hurt, but for now I think 2 seems to be the sweet spot for Tab Ramos. Usually you only need 2. I mean, in case of emergencies, you could throw a player in there, but how many times is it going to happen that your 2 goalies get injured? But you never know. Then center backs, like I said, we are sitting on 6 names, possibly 7. So we have Formajor, who has been signed, what we heard. Tim Parker, which I think is going to be a starter. Then we have the youngster McHugh, And then we have Figueroa. Sorry, I meant when I was talking about Fumayor, I was talking about Figueroa. So Figueroa, which seems to have been renewed. Bartlow, we know the new kid, that also he has a great possibility of being a starter, to be honest. I think Figueroa might beat him just because of the experience. So it might be Parker Figueroa to begin. And then we have Torwigi. I'm sorry, bro. I'm butchering your name right now, but welcome to the team. Welcome to QuattroQuattroDos, where we butcher names all the time. So, just to let you know, I still don't know Lundy's last name. And then on the left side, we have Junkwa and Lundy. Junkwa, he kind of proved himself to be, minutes worthy in the Houston Dynamo. So hopefully he has a better year. I think he's still kind of like trying to get into a rhythm into himself. So hopefully this year Junkwa can show off a little bit more. And then on the right side, we still have the competition between Sarek Valentin and Bisama, which is good because they're kind of different players. Bisama is known for his speed. Sarek Valentin is known for his more of defensive, and Bisama is known more of his attacking kind of side. So it's interesting. And also Sarek Valentin is also known for playing center back. So, that's another possibility there. I don't think I'm missing anybody else in the back. So in the back, I think we're pretty stacked. We have, 2 wingers, obviously one right and left, but 2 players per position. And then on the center backs, we have 3 players per position almost. So I think we're pretty set. When it comes to the middle, this is where we have a bunch of names, I believe. We have a bunch of names in the front, to be honest, but in this middle, I think we are very, very complete when it comes to defensive mids that could turn into attacking mids. Bonnie Garcia, the captain, the capitan, el glorioso Bonnie Garcia, that he probably will be renewed for another year. We'll see how that turns out, but Bonnie Garcia, at the end of the day, he's pretty consistent. I'm not gonna lie, he has had a couple bad games, but he's usually very consistent. Derek Jones, who we basically went to go get. And he seems to be, he was a starter in Nashville and he wrecked it. He killed it in Nashville. So I don't see why not he wouldn't start here. Vera, newcomer of the year, player of the year, very solid dude. I think he was the captain last year. So, we'll see how this is going to turn out again. Because I think this year we have a lot of players that could be our captain. Between Parker, between Sarek Valentin, between Vera, between Corona. There's a bunch of names that could be our captain. This year. We have Joe Corona, that's also bringing that experience. He already knows how to play. He's also a starter. And then Darwin Seren, that he has proven himself to be reliable, and not only in the defensive side, but also on the attacking side, scoring goals, putting assists, and all that stuff. And then we move into the attacking players. On the right side, I put some name. The right side and the left side could be interchangeable, but I just kind of put them there just cause. So I put on the right side Bajamic, Pasher, because he's a left footer, but he's gonna cut in, Messi style, and then Hansen, which he's still kind of in a limbo. But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Hansen, because I can see him staying, but then also I can see him leaving because there's a lot of competition, and he probably, won't want that. And then on the other side, I put Fafa and Lassiter. So Fafa is known for being super, fast. And then Lassiter is also a left footer, being super fast. But I see him more of a cross guy than a shooter. I know Pasher had, in the USL, he had a whole bunch of shots on goal. So I see him more as a shooter than, a crosser. So that's why I put Lassiter on his left, because it's easier for him to cross. And then on the midfield, we have a bunch of names right there. We have Lemoyne, we have Memo, we have Quinteros, we have Palomino, we have the two young guys that I don't think they'll see a lot of minutes, but they might. Dani Rios, Castilla. But I think we'll be good, set there. And then on the front, we're going to have Ramirez, and I think the kid Strickler is going to fight for a spot. He's going to fight for a number 9. And they also have Fafa, as a number 9 as well. So the way that I would run the formation would be basically kind of similar to what he has been running in now, Tab Ramos, which is a 4-2-1. Well, I'm tripping. Yeah, I guess you can say a 4-4-2, but in my eyes, it's not really a 4-4-2. So it'll be, the 4 in the back. I would put 2 defensive mids, 1 attacking mid in front of them, like a little triangle type of thing. The 2 wingers, and then a number 9. That's my ideal, just because I know there's going to be a lot of presence in the middle. And then, you have a number 9, and then right behind the number 10, which would be like Quintero or Palomino or Lemoyne or Memo. I think they have the qualities of a number 10. And then I think Joe Corona, Seren, Vera, Boniek, Jones, they have the qualities more of a number 5 or number 8. That's how I see the players in the middle. They can be very defensive, but also go to the attack if needed. And then, there's always can be 2 of those, one more defensive, one more attacking, and they could be interchangeable. Obviously, the sides are going to be fast. There's going to be speed and youthness, with Bajamish, Pasher, Fafa speed, Lassiter speed, youth. And then Ramirez, I think this is going to be the year of Ramirez to prove himself as a true, legit number 9 that scores a shitload of goals. He had a whole lot of options last year, but he didn't put a lot of those in the back of the net. So I think this year has to be a turning point for Ramirez if he wants to move forward in his career in a way that if he wants to make it to the national team again and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. I think the Dynamo has a really good team. I said that last year too, but I actually have more faith this year than last year. I said last year that last year was a throwaway year, just because of the new coach, new players and all that. But I think this year this team has been composed of players that the coach actually wanted. Therefore, I can see how they're going to be more attached to him and to his style of play, which was beautiful. But I'm ready to see beautiful play with players that actually want to win. I mean, I'm not saying that last year they didn't want to win, but now they know the coach, they want to play for the coach, they're going to give it all for the coach, and the coach is going to do the same thing in the field, tactically. So it's going to be interesting. I think the Dynamo have a really good group, and I'm hoping for a playoff spot. My eyes obviously are in the MLS Cup, but I think a playoff spot for right now, after the years of shittiness that we have had, I think playoff spot is a good, starting point, and then we can go on from there. Hopefully also the US Open Cup comes back, which is going to give a lot more minutes to the other guys, to the younger guys. I'm ready to see what Dani Rios, Castilla, Palomino, Lemoyne, and all these young guys have. I want to see Pasher if he's not going to be a starter. I want to see, the other center backs. I want to see McHugh. I want to see Fuenmayor. I want to see Bartlow if he doesn't start. I want to see Junqua play more, I want to see everybody play. And I think we can do that if we compete in the MLS. And why not compete also in the US Open Cup? I think we have the team. I think we have the depth. That was a problem last year. So I think we can do it. So hopefully, best of luck for the Houston Dynamo. I'll be covering another year. QuattroQuattroDos is coming in for a second year. And I think we're going to go stronger. And also QuattroQuattroDos is going to try to highlight a lot of soccer leagues in Houston. I've been talking to a lot of people, so go see those interviews. I'm trying to get a lot more stuff done. I'm trying to make some videos. If you're a videographer and you're starting out just like me and you just want to try out your craft and you need something to do, hey, hit me up. Let's work together. You can use me as an experiment, and I'm down with that. If you have any other sorts of ideas that you would like to do and you want to try them with me, let's work together. Let's do some stuff. So, let's work. Let's put on some stuff. Let's put, Houston soccer back on the map. I think we have the team to start off in the professional side, but I think we also could do some other stuff in the city, with all these leagues coming up, and I think we are ready to have a soccer city in Houston. So I think Houston can be a soccer city, and from all the way in the top to all the way in the bottom. Also, the Houston Dash are killing it, so I don't even have to say about that. But we have to do. I will do a Dash related just episode for them. But there's a lot of great shows out there. Relatively, man, I forgot the name, but it's relatively football. but I don't know how to spell it, but you know, I'll put the link below so you guys can check it out. They talk about women's soccer and stuff like that, and they follow the dash and stuff. So check them out and check out all the other podcasts and stuff like that. And yeah, so QuattroQuattroDos is out. See you guys later. Hopefully you guys are enjoying all the content. We're trying to put out more content. We're trying to put out more interviews. And we'll see you guys later. Y'all have a good one. Be safe. And let's go Dynamo. Hold it down.